We reviewed our codes and conventions and looked at how we can interpret these in our documentary. We used vox pops to make it more appealing to the audience and to find out what we needed to know for our documentary. We used an older woman narrator, as if it was a young person it might not be appropriate. We used different camera angles and shots to make the documentary more appealing to the audience. We used cutaways to make it more appealing to the audience. We also used shot reverse shots on Jaffa cakes to bring the audience's attention to the Jaffa cakes and make them aware that that's what the topics is on. What's one of the topics is on. Archive material of a Jaffa cake advert was also used to anchor meaning, and also the advert is very popular. Appropriate mise-en-scène was used to make the set more interesting and to make the audience understand. For example, when we filmed the home bakers, they had baking utensils next to them. We also used rule of thirds to make sure that the people being interviewed were looking in the frame. This was used so that the people being interviewed were looking at the person asking the questions rather than looking straight into the camera. We made sure we interviewed people who were relevant to the biscuit industry, as if they weren't relevant, they wouldn't know much about the biscuit industry. And if they didn't know much about the biscuit industry, then the documentary wouldn't have been as informative. We had a clear ending which finished with a debate being solved whether a Jaffa cake is a cake or a biscuit. We used white text as the name so it didn't distract the audience. If we used different coloured text, it would have distract the audience and they wouldn't listen to what the person being interviewed is saying. Non-diegetic sound was then used when the home baker was making biscuits. This was used to make it more interesting to the audience. We used all this to make it close to a real documentary as it's possible. We use these so it compares to a documentary that will be shown on Channel 4.